Is it really possible to make $500 to $1,000 per hour by closing high ticket deals? Well, if you know how to one call close, then yes. But how do you do it? Well, I learned firsthand that staying surface level in my conversations was the biggest deal killer. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact framework that make conversations instantly relevant, builds urgency fast, and effortlessly allows you to close deals in under 60 minutes. This is episode 4 of this video series, and if you want to catch up on previous episodes, we'll leave a link to the full playlist down in the description box. Let's get into it. Before getting into the questions and the framework, etc., first of all, remember that this conversation right here, what we're about to do, starting with our North Star question, is we're going to enter in our first setup, our first conversation, where we're going to see what are the opportunities we have to be able to start building the gap. This right here was the preliminary conversation. Now, here, we're really diving into our first conversation that is going to give us the opportunities to start building the gap. That's super, super important. It all starts with our first North Star question. Now, the second thing before we dive in is that our first North Star question is going to be slightly different depending on the type of offer. The reason why is because depending on the type of offer, asking it the right way is just going to give you more efficiency. It's going to be more effective. So before I explain the different questions, just so you know, the concept is the same. Okay, the concept is the same. In previous episodes, we went over the goal of the North Star. So we're uncovering problem, relevancy, and urgency in all setups. So we're doing it, but we're doing it slightly differently. So what are the type of offers, first of all? Okay, so we have 3 main categories, okay? So we have business opportunity offers. Essentially, this is any type of business model, way of making money, where the people that are coming into these calls, they're getting started with that. They've never done it before. They want to start with that opportunity, with that business opportunity. We call it business opportunity, BSOP, okay? The second type, it's a B2B offer. Essentially, when the people that come into our calls are businesses, either CEOs or C-suite or executives, like a CMO, a director of marketing, director of sales, depending on what you're selling. But they are businesses, they're not consumers. And then the third type of offer is an enhancement offer or an improvement offer. And the difference between an enhancement offer and a business opportunity is that an enhancement offer is they are already in the journey. They are already either in the opportunity, trying to make money with the thing, or it might be a thing that has nothing to do with making money. It might be like weight loss. Okay, so weight loss, fitness, nutrition, if they are already in that journey, is an improvement offer, is an enhancement offer. A trader, someone that is already a trader and wants to go to the next level, either start deploying a new strategy or a better strategy, is an improvement offer because he's already a trader. If someone is not a trader, is working in construction and wants to become a trader, that's a BSOP offer. Does that make sense? So you see, those are the 3 type of offers. So as you can see, we have 3 different cards, 3 different questions, but let's dive into it. You will see how it's the exact same thing. Let's go from the bottom. Enhancement offer, easy. Again, businesses are solutions to problems. So the way we start building the gap is with the problem and with pain. So that's what we're trying to do right away. We're going to identify the problem. So with an improvement offer, we're going to ask, what is the biggest challenge you're facing with your health right now? Imagine it's a weight loss. If it's a trading, what is the biggest challenge you're facing with your trading or with your trading strategy right now? As you can see, all these questions have the 3 same key elements. Number 1, we have a superlative. We have one element that's going to sort of like tell us the problem without us saying the word problem. It's going to clarify around the problem. And we have an element of time, of urgency right now. What is the biggest challenge right now? It's not what are some of the challenges. It's not what were some of the challenges. It's what is the biggest challenge right now. And that's going to activate certain things in their mind and it's going to force them, not force them, but it's going to put them in this place of, I have to really, really think through this because he's asking me for the biggest challenge right now. So there are like specific set of variables. And of course, you have to say this not only with the words, but also with the tone and the intention. Because if you say, what's the biggest challenge you're facing with your health right now? It's not the same as, okay, so to put a focus on this conversation, Natalie, what would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing right now with your health? You see the difference? Totally different answer you're going to get if you ask it that way. So, enhancement offer, improvement offer, biggest challenge right now. B2B. In B2B, we're going to say bottleneck or constraint. So what is right now the biggest bottleneck that's preventing the business from growing at the level it should? Okay, so Tom, I guess like for you at this very moment, what would you say is the biggest constraint preventing the business from growing at the level it should? Okay, cool. So these two are very easy, right? You just ask if this format and we just kick off the conversation. Now, in business opportunity, it's going to be slightly different. Why? Because in business opportunity, they might not have full clarity on what is the biggest problem. So the way we do it, that is super, super effective, is we ask them to clarify point B. So they are in point A trying to go to point B. So we're going to ask them to clarify point B. What is your point B, Mr. Prospect? And by them telling us their point B, the contrast of point B, the opposite of point B, is going to be point A. So we're going to ask them, what is the biggest reason you want to start an e-commerce business right now? Okay, biggest reason. Instead of biggest challenge, biggest reason. Or what is the main reason you want to start an e-commerce business right at this stage in your life? Okay, that's the North Star question for a BSOP offer. They're going to tell us, for example, oh, because I want to make more money so that I can leave my job and spend more time with my family because I am a father. I'm not seeing my child enough and, they're growing so fast, for example. What that tells us is that the contrast of that is what they're experiencing right now. Of course, we're going to clarify that. We're not going to assume, but it's going to give us a very, very big, big, big clue, a very, very good sign of like, okay, because if someone is wanting more time with their family, wanting to make more money, if someone is, the biggest reason is because they want mental peace, is because they don't have mental peace. They don't have the time with the family. They don't have the money right now. So that's why I put this here. By getting clarity on point B, we're going to clarify point A. Then we can ask for the biggest problem or the biggest challenge right after if needed. But in most cases, by just simply them clarifying point A, they will naturally by themselves give you problems. A lot of the times they will say, I want to spend more time with my family because right now I work 40 hours a week and I just barely see them. You see, now they're giving us the problem. So it's a very, very effective way to gain clarity on the biggest challenge, the biggest problems they're experiencing right now. Because oftentimes in BSOP, if you ask them about the biggest challenge, they might not know. It might be difficult for them. But if you go straight into what is your point B? Where are you going, sir? Where are you going? Why are you going there? Why is that of importance to you? And why is that of importance right now? The contrast of that will be where they are right now, and then we can ask about that. Okay. Now, another important key part about the North Star is that it's not about asking the North Star question and that's it. This is our first conversation. It's a conversation. So what that means is we're going to ask this question. And the more you practice the delivery of this question, the higher the response and the way they open up is just going to be higher. They're going to give you more information right from the first question. So definitely don't underestimate this framework. But even if you ask in the best way possible, some people might just give you a surface level answer, which is fine. It's part of the process. This is our first conversation. And that's why this is not only about getting clarity on the problem, we need to know why this problem is relevant and why this problem is something they're looking to do now, though. They're reaching out for outside help now, though. We need to know that. Okay, so this is just the first. This is how you kick off the conversation. But you don't just move from here forward if you don't have full clarity, if you don't have like a full picture. This is what we're doing here. We're building a picture. Sorry, we are building a picture, okay? A clear picture where we have to identify those three elements. Super, super important. We have to identify what's the problem, the challenge, the bottleneck, why is it relevant, why is it urgent, or what's coming up for you now? What are you seeing right now that has you reach out for help right at this stage in your life? What have you seen? Okay. What have you been noticing? So we're going to, if they don't give that to us after the first question, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to ask them probing questions, relevancy questions, urgency questions. We can do labeling techniques as well, just to clarify what they say, just to make sure that, we're understanding them properly. So in one scenario, you might ask this question and they might just tell you everything. They might tell you the biggest problem. So they might tell you the biggest reason why they want to start. Then they will naturally go into the biggest problem, but you just staying there listening. They by them describing what's the biggest problem right now, they will give you the why is important for them to fix that problem, and then they might give you why is important now. They might give you everything in the first question, or they might not. If they don't, you can ask, how do you mean by that? Why specifically do you feel that's the biggest reason or that's the biggest bottleneck? For example, why is it important to you to increase your income at this point in your life, or your income ceiling, your income potential? What's the importance behind losing this weight for you personally? It could be another one as well, depending on how they answer. This is all contextual. We can ask urgency questions. They don't give us any urgency questions, and they're like nonchalant, like, yeah, just doing that. What has you reach out for help with this now specifically? Or what's coming up for you now that has you reach out for help in this moment? What have you noticed? What have you seen now? What has recently shifted that has made you actually reach out for outside help with something like this? Urgency. And again, remember, it's not only asking the questions, we need to listen carefully because they might say something and not answer the question. So, what I mean by that is our goal is not to ask the question are just tools. Our goal is to get the picture. And you might ask a question and you might not get the picture. So, you might have to clarify, probe, or ask a different question, similar question a different way until you get the picture. Okay, sometimes it's just a little bit of patience because they don't know. If they knew, they wouldn't need you. So they're also trying to find, and trying to get that clarity. So just facilitating that process. Now, once we have the problem, the relevancy, and the urgency, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to recap that. We're going to summarize that back to them. And the reason why is because it's going to showcase empathy. It's going to demonstrate that you're actually listening. But also, number two is because they will oftentimes develop, they would oftentimes expand. Because by you doing recaps and doing recaps the right way, you are triggering this cognitive bias that we have of correcting people, and that will give us more information. So you do the recap. It's very important that when you do the recap, you say it with their words. Don't do a recap and say things that they haven't shared or put words in their mouth, because then you're going to do the opposite. Okay. You're going to do the opposite of displaying empathy, and you're going to receive like, nope, that's not correct. So you have to make sure that when you do the recap, you use their words. I'm going to do a quick recap just to make sure that I'm getting you right. And they say, okay, cool. So the biggest reason you want to start an income business right now, you're looking for outside help, is because of X, Y, and Z. What you're noticing right now is A, B, C. And the reason why you have reached out for help now is because blah, 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 whatever, right? HBC. Is that accurate? And then they will say, yes, that is accurate. Or they would say, yes, and also because of this, and this. Oh, okay. How do you mean by that? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. I see. So then the biggest reason is this, da, 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 da. The reason why this is important is because of this. You've seen this, and this. But not only that, also this new thing that you mentioned, this, and this. Is that correct? Yes. Boom. Is another opportunity here to get more data. That's what we're doing in this first setup. And during this conversation, this first conversation that can last 2 minutes or it can last 4 minutes, like it depends. Like it can just be like 60 seconds, boom. and we are ready to start building the gap, or it can just take us a couple of more minutes. It really depends on the person. But what we're doing here, as we are gathering the data, is we're looking also for opportunities, doors. Imagine these are doors to start building the gap. To start, let's go here, start building this gap. The way we do it is by pulling out the emotion. The first emotion is pain that comes from problems. That's exactly what we're doing. In most cases, and the better you become at this, it will just constantly be the case. You will see opportunities, clear opportunities to start diving into pain. When you see those opportunities, you unpack it. You just go down, you pick a door. If you see two doors, you pick the one that you feel has the highest chances of getting you gold, of getting you the pain, and you start just going down. You start probing, clarifying, unpacking the problem, and just building the gap. You don't, if you have a door here, or you have two doors here, you don't say, okay, I have two doors here. I'm going to continue with current situation. You don't do that. You don't waste the opportunity. All we're doing is building the gap. That's the purpose. So all of this is just a guide, is a framework to give you these opportunities so that you can start building the gap. Okay, that's the flexibility right there. That's how you achieve more in less time. You become more efficient. It's being flexible and knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing. It's not following a script, guys. This is the track, but the objective is to build a gap. You see opportunities, boom, you go down. Because here's the thing: you have this conversation here. You go back and forth, back and forth. You might need to ask a couple of questions here. Okay, then you see two doors. Again, imagine these are doors. You pick this door and you start, boom, going down. You start collecting more data, unpacking the problem, building the gap. If for whatever reason it turns out that it was like a little gap, that's fine. It's like, it's good. It's still gap that you've built. And then you just go into the other door. Okay, got you. Clear. Roll me back to something you said. Something you said a minute ago. You said, I really need to make more money. You corrected yourself. You say, I don't want to make more money. I need to make more money. So how do you mean by that? Like, you said that with a little bit of emphasis. Can you expand on that? That was another door, for example. And then, again, imagine this is a door. So we went through this one. There wasn't a lot. Okay, now we just go back and we just ask them to unpack this. And boom, maybe in this one, boom, they just give us a lot of pain, and we start to execute the deep pain sequence, which is how we build the gap and extend the gap. And if not, then no worries. Now we go into our next set of data and we do the same thing. Okay, the same thing is we're going to collect this set of data with the goal to spot opportunities to continue to build the gap. Okay, so that's that for the first setup, the first conversation, true conversation, transformational conversation, which is the North Star conversation. And in the next video, we'll cover current situation. So I'll see you there.